Right, here we are on a glorious sunny day, driving alongside Cray Reservoir.
Oh, yes, sunny. Well, the sun is coming out actually.
It is, it's trying.
The rain's still rain. In Bannau Brycheiniog. We're just passing the site, the Cray Reservoir, the site where Arianrod had his sighting.
Yes, and there we are, there's a reservoir.
Yeah, but we're on the way to, we meted Simon Blake, our colleague, UFO colleague, at the home of Terry Hunter, who wrote a book this year all about his experiences through his life as an experiencer. It's amazing stories, and we're going to interview him at his home. His book was published through Amazon, but it was taken off sale because there was some problem with Amazon. Yeah, you've been reading it. It's really
Yes,
good, isn't it?
it is. It's a really, really good book.
I've been dipping in it.
And I've only got about 50 pages in, and it's a bit of a read.
I
So-
did interview him on our radio show, which is on Spotify. It's in the list on our Spotify.
Yes, radio show 64.
Right, yeah, a while back. So this is going to go on YouTube, I believe. Isn't it?
Yep. So I'm really looking forward to this interview with Terry.
It's been a long time coming.
Because quite a few of Terry's experiences are on my manor sort of thing, as in my area.
He lived in
Kittle.
Bishopston and Kittle, didn't he?
Yeah, literally about a minute away from me. So looking forward to it. Oh, look at this, the sun is coming out. Goodness me. Anyway, we'll see what happens in a bit.
Right, hello Terry.
Hiya.
Thanks for meeting Sufon. You have spoken to me and Mike before. Well, just
Right.
me, wasn't it? Mike wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't at the radio show that
On the
day.
radio show.
The one radio show I wasn't there.
Yeah, so we did a telephone interview with you on our
That's
radio
right.
on Oystermouth
Yeah.
Radio, and it's really good that you can meet us today to talk about your book that you've recently published, but it's going to be republished, isn't it? It's
Yes.
relaunched again.
Yeah, I've got to sort that out. I'm worried about that. I've got to sort it out.
Yeah, I'm sure you get it sorted anyway. Mike's been reading it, I've been reading it, and Simon's been reading it, and we were really impressed with the
thank you.
amount that's in it, basically.
Well, yeah, like I say, I've got to page 50 so far, and I'm like, it just goes on, and I'm thinking, my God, it's incredible.
And you've had it's all about your lifetime of experiences going back
Indeed,
to...
it is. I've had a lifetime of experiences. There were blank spells, like my marriage and running a pub affected me. But I always kept in touch. And then suddenly, after my marriage ended, I was available. I was going out and going to the places that I went to when I was very young, which I wrote about. And things just carried on. They took off from where I left off.
So how did it all start?
Well, when I was born.
As things do, isn't it?
Honestly,
What's your earliest memory of something happening then?
about 2 or 3.
Really?
Yeah. My mother went into hospital. I was born, and I had double pneumonia, diphtheria, scarlet fever within 6 months. And then there was a disagreement between her and my father, and he said, "You've got to go. You've got to take his siblings, but you've got to leave him." And unfortunately, she did. And I had a pretty ropey time, but things kicked off. I had like a clown or 2 beings in my bedroom when I was 2, 3 years old.
But you identified it as a clown because...
Oh, I could see it was a clown. Yeah, from I'm going back with erstwhile memories, and
Yeah.
My recall was that is a clown. I didn't know it was a clown at the time.
Where were you living?
At Charles Street,
In
Greenhill, Swansea.
Greenhill, Swansea.
Yeah. But it went on, and my father got hold of a microscope for me when I was sort of 5-ish, and that microscope was unbelievable. Whenever I looked into it, I could see a spaceship, a flying saucer, or I could see people outside of their crafts. I was seeing as if I was looking into space through the microscope.
A microscope?
A microscope. This was a brass microscope.
Yeah.
And there were parts missing, and I could look through it, and I could see what I'm telling you. I can see. I could see flying saucers, or there would be a fleet of ships, and there would be some crews working outside of some, and some just hovering there alongside. And
you don't mean a telescope?
no, it's a microscope.
Microscope.
It was a microscope. The microscope was, they were parts missing. It must have been around 1800. It was solid brass. Now I'm talking 1950, 51, 52 when I got it, and it was just an incredible thing. And my father was a very brave soldier, and he was highly decorated. And one night he stopped home and he was telling me a story about Tobruk. Tobruk fell, I think, in 1942. He got blown up and he got not badly injured. He was lucky. But he said, "Excuse me, I got to go to the toilet." He went through the door, and the candles blew out. And he said, "All right, I'll see to those when I come back." I said, "Yeah, okay." Then I picked up the microscope and I looked, and I could see a little small alien standing there. I dropped it, and my father came back. He said, "There's an alien there." And he took the microscope off me, put it in the bag, and that was that. I never saw it again. But that was one aspect, one element of my life.
I'm a bit confused. How could you, when you were looking into the microscope, you saw spaceships?
Yeah.
Space.
Yeah, honestly, I saw spaceships, and I saw...
through the microscope, small?
Yeah, small, yeah. I honestly, it's true. I looked through the microscope, and I can remember once saying to my friend Leonard Huxtable, I said, "Have a look through this, Leonard, see if you can see the flying saucer." And he picked it up and he went like that, and he put it down, he looked at me, and he gave me a look like that, checked it over, and he obviously didn't see anything. I don't know why I had the ability to do it, to see it.
But you're not actually saying that they were there underneath the glass slide?
No, I don't know. All I know is when I put that to my to my eye, that's what I could see.
Well, you were lifting it up?
Yeah, it was a microscope. I was treating it just as a scope, something to look through. Yeah, I was. Because
a microscope, you look in and you're looking down into a glass slide.
No, the microscope was completely detached. You had the eyepiece there, and you had the other piece there.
Oh, so it was like a telescope?
Like a telescope, yeah, but it was a microscope. I can always remember my dad saying it was a microscope view. And that's why I know it's a microscope. It was a microscope. And what I said is true. I could see these things through it. And when I said I could see that alien, he took it off me.
Which was in the room?
Yeah. He took it off me, and he said, "That's it, get to bed." And I went to bed, and I between my legs, and he took the microscope back to work, wherever he took it, and I never saw it again.
So do you think this microscope was some sort of a tool that enhanced your ability to see things that other people couldn't see?
No, it was just an odd thing. It was the only thing I ever used that I could see these things through.
So like a catalyst sort of.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
That's it. That is what I was doing, and what I was doing was looking through it the other way around. I was looking through the bottom end through.
So essentially, using it like a telescope.
Yeah.
But
Get it up on the screen again and show it to the camera. All right, I got it. Yeah, it looks like a telescope.
Yeah, it looks like a telescope, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think now. I've never heard of this before. So in a way, it was enhancing your ability to be able to see these things.
In a way, it was. I was seeing these things, and I'd been seeing. I'd had a fourth kind when I was a bit younger, and also these beings were coming in and out of my bedroom without a doubt. And that was some kind of. I was amazed. I was flabbergasted with the whole thing, with the concept, with the idea of it. I remember at the same time there was a film in the Plaza called Forbidden Planet.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
With Anne
That
Francis.
was an incredible. I tell you what, I was so sold on that.
Based on Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all happening to
But
me
with-
at the same time.
But crucially,
I said to
Anne
my
Francis,
father, they're
yeah.
real. He said, they're not real.
And Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, because you couldn't see him.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Monsters of the Id.
Sorry?
Monsters of the Id. The
Monsters of the Ed, yeah, that's
the
right.
invisible thing with the
Yeah.
One of Leslie Nielsen's early works.
Pardon?
One of Leslie Nielsen's early works as the captain of the ship.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and of course he was a serious actor then.
Robbie the Robot.
Yeah.
So how old were you then
Yeah.
in the
Anne
cinema?
Francis.
Well, I would have been 8.
Yeah.
I would have been about 8. So that was obviously a little bit after the telescope. Just a tad or so, just a bit.
Yeah.
But that film definitely got to me, and I remember arguing with my father, no, it's not real, they are real. I was convinced that the old set was the real thing, but that was the only film that ever did that to me. There was never another one.
So moving on, then did you have any more experiences in your childhood than in
Well,
Green Hill?
there were a number of visits to my room. I don't know exactly how many, but there were a number. Craft-wise, I can't remember craft-wise until I was in my young teens. I don't think there was. But
Did you have any brothers and sisters?
they were gone. My father took them. My mother took them.
All right. Yeah.
Well, no, my mother left and she took my siblings with them.
Yeah. So it was just you and your dad living in the house then?
Yeah, we lived in a house together.
And did your dad at any time show
No.
any inkling that he was experiencing these things as
No,
well?
nothing at all. He, on the contrary, he was he was totally opposed to any idea at all of anything paranormal or celestial or spiritual. I
Yeah.
saw a ghost of my grandfather when I was 5, 6. I saw him clearly walking across the room.
So there's no chance that he sort of influenced your perceptions to see these things?
No.
It was entirely of your own volition?
My perceptions increased. I mean, we're not touching hardly on anything. Those things were important to me, but they were odd things that happened when I was a young child. But as I grew older, I grew sharper. And indeed, here now I get visits from them regularly. They still doing whatever it is they do into my head. The marks are there, and whatever they did to my ear is still there. But they come into my bedroom. Just a year last Christmas, I had a nosebleed that completely filled the bedroom with blood. I couldn't stop the bleeding. I didn't go to hospital, I didn't call an ambulance. I blew my nose eventually, and that stopped the bleeding. But I don't know why they're doing it, what they're doing it for, but they're doing it every night. I wake up sometimes and I have just a normal nosebleed, or there are fingerprints on the mirrors, but I can see they've been. As far as sightings are concerned, I don't get so many now because I don't go there so much as I used to, and it's the summertime. If I go up there tonight, say at 10 o'clock, I guarantee you a craft will come.
To where?
Just up the road, not far from you, a few miles from you.
Up towards Cray?
Just above Cray.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. I'm in regular contact when I want to be. But whatever they are doing to me here, they're in complete control. I don't know why they do it, but they do it.
So going back to when you were living in Swansea, you mentioned in your book about you had the pub in the Beaufort Arms in Kittle.
Yes. Yeah.
What year would that be?
93.
93. But you had previous to that you had experiences, didn't you, in Swansea?
I had the Duke and the Builders.
That's it. Yeah.
The Duke in Wine Street. Well, I did have a big sight in the Duke, but not the builders. In the Duke,
You were a pub landlord.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had invested 125,000 on a refit,
Yeah.
and it was 87. We were reopening the Duke in 87, and I remember being downstairs with my wife, and she commented that they'd done a marvellous job. And then there was a voice, a soprano, singing One Fine Day, and we were baffled because it was an unaccompanied voice and the sound systems hadn't been wired up. There was no sound system, but the voice was there. It was during the course of that night. That was me, I think, wasn't it?
It's me.
The Evelyn.
I'll put my phone on mute now. Yeah, carry on.
It was during the course of that night that we went upstairs, come on, we've got to go to bed, and we went to bed. There was no problem, but there was a pile of black bags at the foot of the bed, and it was as though somebody was dealing them around. And also there was a sound of a ball bouncing. I thought, well, was it one of my kids? No. And then I had two orbs that were floating around the room. One came close and one flew out through the wall. And then the second one did the same thing through the closed window. Now, we only had a large net curtain up because we were on the third floor up. We were outside to everyone, so we weren't worried about privacy. And I laid there. I'd gone to sleep easily during the first time, but the second time I couldn't get to sleep. And then there was something came up to the window. We were the third floor up. And I walked to the window, and there was a craft. When it did turn around, it showed me its shape. It's like a giant surfboard. But it was at the moment, it was still swung around towards me, and there was a female in it. I don't know what we're talking about, I couldn't see the face clearly.
This is in the Duke in Wine
This
Street.
is the Duke Wine Street. I
Yeah,
never told them.
So which side of the building was the window? Was it towards the Strand?
We were at the rear end,
It's overlooking the Strand.
overlooking the Strand, yeah. And we just stared at each other. I stared at her, she stared at me, and we were staring at each other for 2 minutes maybe, which is a long time. And she said, without any logic, she just swung the craft to the right, to the starboard, spun it the whole way round, and it flew over the beer garden to the rear and turned left up the Strand like as if it was a car going up the road. And that's true.
So I think where the Duke is now, as it going down Wine Street, it's on the left.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got the castle on the left.
Yeah.
The Duke must be the first pub on the left.
Walkabout, is it? The one that became Walkabout?
I don't know what it
The
is.
Australian bar?
You've got 5 guys on the corner, haven't you? And then you've got quite a few pubs on the...
Yeah,
I
used
can
to be
remember the
used to be
Duke.
Wine Street arcade sort of market, indoor market. It's gone now, they knocked that down and they built something else.
Yeah, that's right. It's just a little lower than that.
To be like collectors' little stalls and that.
That's right. It's just below that. That was the Buffs Club.
Right, so I think it's Walkabout now. It's called,
Yeah, it used to be. Pop World, I think it was called now. It was Walkabout for a while. It's now Pop World.
So what year was this? 80s?
Well, that was 87 we opened that.
Right.
And we left there in 93 and 92. Just before Christmas 92 we left there, and sadly my wife met somebody else in the Beaufort just after we moved. And it was 93 that I had that experience there in Beaufort. And
When you say it was shaped like a surfboard, how thick was it?
well, I mean, in the middle, you know, you must be looking at, say, not 9, but 7 foot perhaps, 8 foot in the centre, and coming narrower slightly to the
So
cockpit.
just enough height then for somebody to stand up in.
Yeah, it wasn't large. I think that she was getting in and out of it, straight in like an aeroplane, in a sedentary position. I think. I don't know. I may be wrong. Maybe I got the size slightly wrong. I'm talking now. 87, what are we talking about?
A long time ago.
Nearly 40 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
jump back a bit, then you got 87. What happened between your childhood and up to then and through the 60s
Well,
and 70s?
the reason why I went there in the book is because I put one chapter which I sat on the front and I related all my teenage years and all the events in that, and also I wanted to get into that. In 91 my son and I were in New York, a place called Rochester, and we witnessed in exactly the same place as what's his name did. He's a famous researcher. He photographed a UFO there, and he pulled my hand and he said, "Look, Dad," and directly above us, more or less the same spot, was a huge UFO, and we were looking at it, and we occasionally had a look around at the people, and nobody else was looking, only us two. We were the only two looking, as far as I could tell. And we were staring at it, and all of a sudden an F-111 came over, interceptor, straight at it, and it went straight back up.
So that was in the 90s, eh?
That was 91.
All right.
That was...
But can we go back now to just after your childhood then?
Yeah,
Can you walk us through your life in the 60s and 70s? What experiences did you have?
They weren't a lot, but
Yeah.
there was a time I was stopping with my auntie, and there was a UFO that I think took me because I was an hour late getting back to my auntie's. It was just a lip-to-lip flying saucer. I was crossing the field, it came down so far, and then that was it. The next thing I knew, I was in a daze, and I walked to my auntie's.
Where was your auntie living?
Mayo.
Mayhill, on top of the hill.
The rest of them were like sightings of about three. There were 3 UFOs together, always in the same flight. And there was one lip to lip, which was at a 45-degree angle.
So what do you mean by lip to lip?
That's a saucer and a saucer.
Right. I never heard that expression before. Lip to lip.
No, it's a new one.
I'm glad I'm not.
But one will talk to each other, is it?
Yeah, I've often heard them described as like 2 inverted saucers, faced, joined together, lip to lip. Yeah.
But honestly, there were so many like that. I can't sort of pick them all out into separate places.
So this is when you were living in Mayhill?
This is when I was living in Mayhill, yeah. And there was one time when
What street did you live in, Mayhill?
Grenogwyn Road.
We've had a couple of sighting reports from up there from years ago.
Grenogwyn Road and Tanamarian Road I lived at. But once I went down to, just before I met my wife, I went down to the airport, and it was a daytime sighting, and what I described it as in the book, it was the Star Destroyer from Star Wars. But the problem was, that film was 10 years down the line. But I was looking at the Star Destroyer. It was there.
So we're looking at late 60s now, is it?
That would have been...
Star Wars came out in
that was about 67.
Yeah, Star Wars came out in 1977.
That's right, that's exactly right. My succinct, clear recall of all the sightings I've had don't really begin until I met Gaynor. I didn't meet Gaynor until the 90s, after I'd left Bertha. And the first trip we had together, we drove to Kent, and outside the M32, peach-coloured lights went whizzing across the car. And I thought, that's weird, that's something I've seen before. And then when we got as far as Swindon, there was an enormous tower, a huge thing with a bank of green lights. I said, have they built a tower? And I was like, what am I talking about? Asking you that for? And next thing, it crossed the road.
Beginner saw this as well.
Yeah, oh, Green is with me alongside me. And all of a sudden, we were synchronised. Whatever it was alongside me, and I was synchronised. It was like we were stopped, but according to my speedo, I was doing 70. And then we were 30 miles, 40 miles further down the motorway. Just like that.
Is this daytime or nighttime?
But this is night time.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at two objects going left and right, up like that, and joined like that, and went straight up. And it wasn't long after that we got to our hotel, and our room had been badly trashed. The hotel staff had never seen anything like it. They put it right in 10 minutes and we had dinner on the house, and I always said again I was going to tell her the truth. I thought she's going to call a doctor now when I tell her the things I've seen. And
so what year would this be?
98,
Right.
97, 98. I'm not entirely sure, but I had all my notes obviously when I was writing, but I'm not entirely, but around about that time, say 98. And anyway, we saw an orange craft outside. She wanted to go outside to have a look around that night. It was cloudy and raining, but we still saw one orange thing that was there for a moment. So she said, look, we better go to bed.
This is in Kent, yeah?
This is in Kent, Rochester. And we went shopping the following morning, and this is absolutely true. We sat down for a coffee in this shopping mall at 11 o'clock. The next thing we knew, it was 7 o'clock and it was closed. All the shops were open, but the mall was closed. That's a fact.
All the shops are open, but the mall was
The precinct was open, but the coffee shop had shut, and we were still sitting in it after it. Whether they put us back there after it shut or not, I don't know.
So had Gaynor experienced anything before she met you?
Yes, she saw one UFO in Manchester, and she described it to me. It was in a close, and it came in over the bungalow next they were staying in. It was next door, and then it just took off, and that was it. That was the only sighting she ever had. But she was to have an amazing abduction at the Evenford Hotel. She was at the Evenford Hotel.
When, in Little Haven?
I never. I thought it was going to be me at the Evenford Hotel. I had the links with it going back to 1980. I wanted Bertha to go there, stop there, because I read Peter Benchley's book, The Lost Triangle.
Peter Paget.
Peter Paget, yeah,
Yes.
not Benchley. He's
Jaws.
Jaws. But when we came back from Kent that weekend, we spotted, she did anyway, a circular thing off the M25, and we never saw anything else till we got the other side of the bridge, and there was a triangle. And when we got to just outside Cardiff, we both thought we crashed. Black, everything was black. There was nothing, there was just we could see a light, just a single light, but the windscreen was black, everything. And it was, I don't know, she said to me afterwards, I'll have to come back to your place and we'll have to talk about this. Because all of a sudden we were 30, 40 miles further down the motorway at Port Talbot, and the car came down. We did this. We thought we were going to fall through the windscreen, and the windscreen was black, and then all of a sudden it cleared and the car did that and went like that, like a toy car, and carried on down the motorway. My flat from there is basically a straight down. It was where I was living then. Was it? Yes, I was just in there then.
Where was that?
Bushry Close, Sketty Park. Just think of the year 98. Just, oh yes, I was there. I moved in there in 95. So I was well in there then.
My dad lived there in the late 80s. Yeah.
Oh right.
Bushry Close.
Oh, that's. They were good neighbours when I moved in 95. They were very, very good neighbours, but they changed their philosophy and their policy, and they started putting younger people in there instead of. They were built for older people, but they put younger people in. But anyway, that's that. And where was I? Yeah, we had been put down.
Yeah.
We were 30 or 40 miles further down the motorway than what we were when we went up. And we had an amazing conversation. Gayna's a remarkable woman.
Saves a bit of petrol, that, isn't it?
Well, it's almost like they're just, you know, sort of repaying you for your time, isn't it? You know, it's like, oh well, we've taken your time, but how about we put you further down the journey than you were going to be in the first place, to, you know, as a sort of like a little gift from us, like. So
Yeah.
I'd like.
Well, it's everything I'm telling you is true. All of it is true. Even that microscope.
So you got no recollection of what happened in that time?
No, our recall, mostly when we were aboard, is blocked. They block it. Honestly, they block our recall. There was one in particular where we were taken from the Taff, where we remembered this was a big ship. They were walking us down the hallway, one tall alien and one short, one tall. And they took us into a room and they bathed us in a blue liquid. And then they dried us, and then we could remember we were walking back, and then we were back in the car. That's the best recall we ever had.
And when was that?
Flipping heck.
So you took them from, you were taken from the Taff.
The Taff, that's the mountainside opposite Penavon. Got Penavon one side, you got the Taff the other.
All right, yeah, because it's where the Taff reservoirs are.
Yeah, that's right. And we had an amazing experience.
The source of the Taff, the River Taff, comes from up there, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was around 2006, but it's in my book. The year is in my book. I think it was around about that time. Of course, it was around about that time we had the military jet that came up the valley.
I read that part. It was quite interesting. That was.
Yeah. We were parked up in our usual space. Then here is a valley, a huge valley that dips down and comes back up Penavon. And this fighter plane, this whatever it was, I did know what it was, I've forgotten. But anyway, it came up, and when he came to our level, he was alongside us. He was looking at us, and the craft that he'd come for was down in front of him, and it was dancing about a bit, and he went straight for the UFO, and the UFO did this. Went that way. The inertia must have been incredible because it was changing direction on a whim. And when the plane got around and back towards it, it went back over the other way.
What did it look like, the craft?
The craft was a flying saucer. That was it that particular night. It looked like just a flying saucer.
Was it night time?
It was night time, yeah. And it wasn't showing many lights. It must have been aware. Normally they got they're aglow.
So which side of Penavon are we talking of when that happened?
Irvine side of Penavon. That's, going towards Neath.
Right, so it's the southwest side.
Yeah. So
towards Ystrad sort of area.
which area?
Ystrad or
Oh
Something
yeah. I see.
I hear wine.
Yeah, I see. I've seen that sign a few times. Never went to Ystrad, but I've seen the signs. But anyway, this went on for, it must have been 9-10 times.
Yeah.
And in the end, I don't know whether they were lasers it fired, but it looked like something came out of it, like jets of, whether it's ammunition or whatever it was, it went into the ground. If it did, it didn't strike the aircraft. And at the end of it, it just went straight up, went into outer space. Then the craft, which was, had been going back and forth like this, I can remember there was a moon, and my car was silver and glinting in the moonlight. It obviously had seen me when it arrived.
Were you parked by those reservoirs?
The reservoirs were
By the
behind me.
A470,
Yeah,
which is the road
down-
from Merthyr to Brecon.
Yeah, that's the A470 down there, down the valley, the
Yeah.
bottom of the valley, yeah. And the reservoirs were, you just got to pull out and drive down. It's maybe
Yeah, because you
a
got
mile-
that road going to Penderyn, just off, but just below the reservoir.
Yeah.
There's a turn in which takes you over towards Penderyn and Headwine.
I'm trying to think of the Penderyn.
It's top of the Neath Valley.
Oh, right, yeah.
By Headwine, you know, where you meet the heads of the valleys road.
And I never went over that end.
No, but this is where you are, where that turn.
Yeah, that's
In that, I know the valley there.
yeah.
Because you've got Story Arms at the top.
That's right.
And
The
the
story
A470
arms,
goes
there's a
down.
lot of stories attached to that as well.
What's that?
No, I won't get into that, but there are some fascinating stories. They're not mine. Anyhow, the aircraft banked round, came round to have a look at us. And as it came by, I'm not kidding you, it was so low, his visor was up, I could see his eyes.
Even in the night time?
Even in the night time. I could see I think I could see his eyes. I remember I could see his eyes. I must have seen his eyes. Gaynor must have, because we spoke about it. And the car windows were down, and it did this, whoosh, 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 as it went by. And I said to Gaynor, I'll bet you any money in a couple of minutes there'll be an army lorry coming by, and it'll just go straight through probably, but there will be an army lorry. And a couple of minutes later there was an army lorry.
Coming from Senny Bridge, probably.
Well, it came from, whether it came from Senny Bridge or not, I don't know, but from that direction. And it went by, it did drive.
Or Brecon.
Yeah. Over there at that time, there was a number of other sightings as well that we saw. I remember one night we parked, well, I drove across there one night and it had been raining. There was no possibility of any sighting, I thought. And as I was driving along, in my mirror I caught the glance of a row of lights going from that side, the right side, behind me, into the field opposite side. So I said to Bertha, I'm going to stop and have a look, and I spun the car around. And I pulled up just half a mile further down, and there was the most enormous diamond-shaped craft I'd ever seen. We've never ever seen one before, we've never seen one since. But it was there.
But you were with Bertha then?
Yeah. No. Did I say Bertha?
Yeah.
With Gaynor, sorry.
Right. I'm glad I brought that.
With
Sorry
Gaynor.
for
No,
that.
I'm getting a bit shaky, I am, but
So it's diamond shaped craft.
diamond. It was a massive diamond-shaped craft. And after about 3 or 4 minutes, it was clearly obvious that they didn't want anything to do with us. Nothing happened at all.
What colour was
They
it?
must have just looked at us and thought, oh, they just whatever they are, and that was it.
What colour was it?
Sorry?
What colour was it?
Sorry?
What colour was it?
It was diamond-shaped. All I could see was black and shiny glass. That's what it looked like. It looked as though it was a diamond. That's what it looked like. And
I'm only asking because one was seen over Llynllech in Croissants. Remember that case I looked into? She said it was a prismic sort of effect, but it was a definite diamond shape.
yeah,
Huge thing.
I said to her, come on Gaynor, let's go. And as we pulled away then, we witnessed another craft going over the top, which we'd never seen before. It was as if there was a fleet there that's not normally there. I'd never seen them before. Never seen them before, never seen them since. And all I caught was the lights going over the back of me, crossing the road. And I said, I got to go and have a look. There's a 3-point turn, and went and we looked, and there was that. They weren't interested, and we felt we'd had enough, and we drove off. We left them there.
So where was that then?
That was on the same road, but further along towards Irvine.
Right.
What we did was, on certain nights we went home certain ways. And it was a Sunday, it must have been a Sunday night because we were going home that way.
And you were living in Swansea then?
Yeah. Yeah, and I moved? No, I was still living in Swansea.
In the Beaufort, is it? Or in...
No,
The
I was living in 2000, oh, wait a minute, 2006. If it was 2006, I was taking Gaynor home and coming back to Eiltradig. 2005 I moved into Eiltradig.
Where's the Eiltradig?
Cwmtwch.
Alright, we've moved about a bit, haven't you?
Oof, I could
So you're
use
up in the upper or lower Cwmtwch now, yeah?
Lower Cwmtwch.
Right.
It was an
Did you have a
amazing
pub there?
place. One night in Lower Cwmtwch.
Did you have a pub there?
No, oh, I did do pub relief there for a short while. And it was only for a month or so. But what happened was, when I was living in Eiltradig one night, I'd been getting lots of home visits, and I decided I was going to do something about it, and I put some masking tape over my head and went to bed.
Masking tape?
Well, it was thick masking tape.
What, do you just put lots and lots round your head?
The main damaged areas are year and year, so I put the masking tape like that, right across. Went to bed, went to sleep, woke up. I was bright. I'd forgot about the masking tape. Went into the bathroom. The second thing I did every morning was a shower. And I got in there, and I went doo-doo-doo. And wrapped round my ankle was the masking tape. Wrapped tight. And gone from here.
They don't have bins on spaceships.
They got a sense of
So they don't have bins on spaceships. They give you your stuff back.
Well, there we are. That happened to me there. Well, whatever they do.
It was definitely a message, wasn't it?
Pardon?
That was definitely a message.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a message.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
that
bit
was pointless.
cheeky, isn't it?
So we'll just
Yeah.
stick it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, some of the things that happened to me here, one night, I walked in here one morning, and that corner unit there, with all the furnishings on it, was in the middle of the room. All the furnishings, everything on it, as it is, as you see it. I'd gone back a few years now. Was here. It took me 3 hours to put it back.
You like Egyptian
That's Egyptian, yeah.
stuff, yeah. Just the Egyptian stuff was there on the floor. Everything in that cabinet.
Yeah, it's all Egyptian, yeah. Yeah, everything is Egyptian, except for the soldiers on the front guard in it. Oh, I had amazing. I don't want to go swinging to and fro, but I had contact in Egypt. When I was in Saqqara, there was one. I remember a chap called me. He was a lovely guy. He said, "Look, I've got these pound coins. Can you change them for me?" He's Egyptian. I said, "Yeah." Oh, and I said, "Oh, my mate, my soul brother Eric there in the photo. He had my wallet." I said, he wanted a £20 note. I said, "Let me go and find him." And I went to look for him, and I couldn't find him. But I went back to tell him I couldn't find him. And he put his arms around me. He said, "Brother," he said, "thank you so much. You came back. Thank you for coming back." And it was when I left him and I was walking out of the entrance exit for Joseph's Pyramid. And all of a sudden there was a voice calling me, "Terry. Terry. Terry." Louder and louder. And then on my left was a man draped in like a brown, what they wear, like a long skirt and frock and all in one, over his head and all. And he said, "How are you?" I said, "Everything is fine." And I walked in towards him, in between two pillars. And he put his arms around me. He said, "It's great to see you. It's lovely to see you." I said, "Oh, thanks very much." He said, "You're going to have 2 women come into your life." And that Christmas I had 2 women visited me here who were with me there on the trip. And they both still write to me. And also there was one called Selvi. What a beautiful woman she was. Oh, she was stunning. I could have fallen in love with her. But I could never remember what he said about her. I remember the name Selvi, but not what he said. And anyway, the trip organiser said to me, well, after you finish walking around, after we'd listened to his presentation earlier, to go back to the bus. And I just felt like going back. This guy gave me a hug and he went back that way, I went back out. And as soon as I stepped back out, there was a load of German. There was a lot of German people going back and forth, but they weren't there hitherto. They just appeared. I walked back to the bus and it was Eric, I told. But it had, for a couple of hours it had gone. It was a wash. It was like it hadn't happened. And
so who do you think this person was that would give you a hug?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
Was he dressed in modern clothes?
No. No, he was from somewhere else and probably the past, I should think. But I don't know how he looked, I don't know. Maybe he was all normal, maybe I just had it screwed up. But he knew the guests. He knew them. And he was nothing at all to do with the trip. But evidently, according to Freddie Silver, the main trip organiser, he maintains that they lost my thread. He maintains that outside he was talking to us before we went in, and he said before you go in, be prepared because you may not, but it's possible that you will be approached by someone who shouldn't be there. That there'll be some kind of meeting that you're not expecting. And this is Freddie Silver, he's a very famous author, I don't know whether you've heard of him. Oh, he's not into celestial beings, UFOs or anything like that, but he's into what do they call it when the grasses are designed and
crop circles.
He's into crop circles in a big way, and he doesn't say that aliens make them, but they are some kind of, according to him, some kind of presentation which is beyond normal, according to him. But anyway, that did happen to me in Saqqara. I also did see a couple of aliens from a distance and a couple of craft while I was staying in Luxor. My friend went off to fly a balloon over the across the Nile, where they have these gatherings. A lot of the old pharaohs were buried there. The Valley of the Kings.
Valley of the Kings, yeah.
And he flew over that at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was alone in the room, and I was on the balcony at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and there was a couple of flying saucers went across. So I'm going, don't know whether they were my benefit. And I also saw in my room that there was someone standing at the foot of my bed that night, that same night. That was about it, aside from what happened to me in the Great Pyramid, which was nothing special. But I did have those events in Egypt. But there's so much more that have happened to me in Great Britain that I can relate to you. That
can we just, you said earlier about you were on the craft with Gaynor, you were walking down the corridor and there was a tall alien and a small alien.
Yeah.
Can you describe what they looked like?
No. They were tall and short, that's all I can tell you.
So this is one of the few recollections you got during one of your times when you were taken, is that?
that's one of the few. I remember once when I was a teenager, I came back from the Taff and I stopped at Arianrod's bridge, but that's an old railway bridge and I didn't know it was then. And why did I stop? I stopped for some reason. I got out of the car, I walked about, and then there was a crunch and I looked. And there was this chap standing there, and he had weird clothes on. He had a belt with all these different things on. And he said to me, "It's all in the mind." And I looked at him and thought, "What's he on about? It's all in the mind." And I looked down and looked up and he was gone. But that happened.
You were in your teens then, yeah? You were in your teens?
I was about 19.
It was in Swansea?
I was living at the time. I had a small apartment and I had just bought my first car, and I decided I would drive to Brecon, and I went to Brecon to the Taff for the first time, and I went to Arianrod's bridge for the first time.
I'm not sure where that is. Where's Arianrod's bridge?
Arianrod's bridge is an old railway bridge just situated just off the main road. I named it Arianrod, but it's an old railway bridge that was last used in 1962.
Is the Neath and Brecon Railway?
Sorry?
Was it the Neath and Brecon Railway, the line from...
Yeah, Brecon to Neath, and then Brecon to Newport. And
you called it Arianrod?
I named it Arianrod's bridge.
But Arian as in Welsh for money?
Yeah.
And silver?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you call it that?
Well, there was a sighting I had one night, which was just a craft with a raised, it was a flying saucer, but it had a raised top hat type appearance, and there were silver lights going around it. And I had been reading about Arianrod for some other reason, not connected, and I went home, I dreamt about that craft, and I dreamt of Arianrod, and I named it Arianrod's Bridge. Is
that bridge still there?
Sorry?
Is that bridge still there?
Yeah. It's there. It's the second spot.
So what road's it on?
The main road.
The A4067. When you go to Cray?
Sorry?
Is it the other side of Cray?
Yeah, you go up to Cray, go around the roundabout and down, and then you've got the bridge on the left.
Is it like an old concrete bridge?
Do you know what Arianrod's symbol is in the Mabinogion, by the way?
Arianrod.
Arianrod.
Oh, I thought you said Arianrod.
No, Arianrod.
As in one of the key figures in the Mabinogion.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Say how Gefys' mother.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Her symbol is a silver wheel.
Yeah, because Welsh for silver is Arian, which is the same as...
But her symbol in the Mabinogion and in heraldry, in Welsh heraldry, is a silver wheel.
Alright.
Well, what are UFOs? Silver wheels.
Alright. So if you go past Cray, you've got a couple of houses on the right, which is white buildings.
Yeah.
Down on the right is Cray Reservoir. Yeah?
Yes.
You go in towards
Swansea. You don't
Swansea.
go as far as Cray. Well, yeah, Cray Reservoir. That's right.
So we go in towards Swansea then?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an old bit of the road on the left hand side. It's like a concrete bridge.
That's right. But it's not the road. That is the railway line. The railway that bridge accommodated the railway line, not the road.
The railway track bed is actually on the other side of the road.
The railway line is that side of the road where the bridge is. That's where the line is, or was. Definitely. One of the neighbours told me.
Yeah, because the railway track bed is lower than the road. It's between the road and the reservoir. It was dropping down there. That old concrete...
the road goes down.
No, that old concrete bridge, that's a bit of the old road before it was straightened and modernised. And it's like a It's like a lay-by now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's an old road bridge, that is. The railway line's the other side of the road.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because from the bulk, if you're coming up from Craigenhorse and you get through the pass at the top,
Yeah.
the railway line crossed the road there, and then
Oh,
it
well,
drops.
I made a mistake.
It's the other side of the road there.
Yeah.
So I know where you are now, but you called it Arianrod Bridge.
Arianrod's Bridge, yeah.
Oh, right.
Of course, also
Why did you call it that?
because I'd seen a craft opposite which had the silver wheel around it, and I knew Arianrod was the goddess of the silver wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
So
This
I
is what
was,
Simon was talking
Well,
about.
Arianrod literally translates as silver wheel, and that's her symbol. But she's the goddess of the sky
I
and
was
the
watching the
stars.
silver. This craft was spinning. The silver wheel on it, and I went home, and I often did. I'd dream of my sightings, so I'd add on to my sightings with a dream or whatever. And in my dream, I named it Arianrod's Bridge. I don't know why I did that, but I did.
It's an interesting connection with Welsh mythology, though.
Yeah.
Well, there are connections. A lot of people who.
Well, I have all kinds of intuitive experiences, and I have
Gaelic
that.
or Welsh to the people.
But I haven't even told you anything really out of the second spot, which is Arianrod's Bridge, or none at all out of the first spot. There was one time out of the first spot, I think I mentioned this to you over the phone, 4 large craft appeared, landed. They must have been 40 foot long at least. They were elongated craft with sharp forward and blunt stern. And they suddenly illuminated, and it was disclosure. The Brecon Beacons was lit up like daylight. Never seen anything like it. Neither again. And it's 40 minutes. They were lit up for 40 minutes like that. And an army vehicle pulled in and an officer jumped out, tapped my window, said, "Are you alright?" I said, "Yeah, we're fine. We're just enjoying the moment." And he said, "I don't blame you." Turned round, got back in his car, and he was gone.
And this is while it was all lit up.
Yeah, it was all lit up. He was there. He saw it all.
Was this near the Cray Reservoir as well? By the Arianrod Bridge?
Well, they're both near Arianrod's Bridge, yeah.
It's interesting you said that because we know a guy called Brian Harry who had an experience in 1991 right there, where he was driving down the A467 just past where you were saying, and there was a huge orb over the Cray Reservoir, 200, 300 foot across, and the whole beacons were lit up like day, he said.
I've seen it so many times.
And 4 or 5 smaller orbs came out with a big one. They were just hovering there, but there's like tendrils attaching from the smaller orbs back to the big orb.
Another one.
But it's interesting that you said it was lit up like day, and that's what
It was.
Brian said.
I mean, I'm telling you the truth. It was 40 minutes, and night was transformed into day.
Yeah, that's what Brian said, and it's in the same place as well. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there was one night. What month would that have been? Sorry, I must get this right. Gaynor said she was never going to go to the Taff again anyway, but I came back from the Taff on my own. Oh, this is recent. I drove back from the Taff to the A4059. I turned left into the A4059. Now I'm coming this way, across the A4059 to the village.
And that's the road coming over from Libanus, is it?
Yeah. I got to a certain spot, campsite, which is there, you'll see it. And I stopped in my tracks. I just stopped the car dead. There was 3 craft, 3. The rear craft was so bright you couldn't make the shape out. The second one was triangle, and the first one was elliptical. and they were all orange, and they were glowing so bright the beacons were turned into day. They were so bright. And one of the craft was over a farmhouse. And even with the curtains drawn, they must have seen light unless they were sleeping. The light was phenomenal. And I stopped there, and they stopped. They kept synchronicity with me when I moved. And they followed me down the rest of that road, up and down, so that I could see them. When I got here, I parked up there. I parked up, got out of the car, and the elliptical one was the opposite side of the road here, this side, above the rooftops of these properties. And I received a telepathic message. There is life after death. From that craft. I assume it was from that craft. And then it was gone. And that, I'm not going back that far. The book was printed last year. It must have been 2022 this happened to me.
You're in Brycheiniog.
And
How long have you been living here?
10 years. I came up here because of my experiences. That's why I'm here.
What, to get away from your experiences, or to...
No. To be more available to the 3 spots where we make contact. If I go up there, they'll contact me. They'll be there. I don't have to say prayers to them or anything like that. They'll be there.
Up on the beacons? Yeah, up by
They'll be
Craig,
there.
on the road to Swansea.
And over the Taff.
Yeah.
So you have to know you're going to be there.
So you were living in Swansea with Gaynor, and...
I never lived with Gaynor.
All right.
Gaynor's...
I thought she was your wife.
No, Gaynor, unfortunately, was married and she was getting a divorce.
Yeah.
What happened there? But her husband had a serious heart attack. And she asked me if I could tolerate her sticking with him to watch him.
Yeah.
And it gradually got worse and worse. But it took him 13 years to die. Not that we minded that, we were glad to put up with that. And that's why we never got together.
But she lives in Swansea?
She's in Swansea now, in Llansamlet. We get together about once a month or so. And we have a lovely time. Yeah, she doesn't come up here, I don't go to her place. We go to Norwich.
But stuff was happening every time you came up to the beacons. Stuff was happening.
Yes, there's no ifs or buts or doubts. They were happening. Wherever we went anyway, UFOs followed us for years. Followed us, honestly, they followed us. There was one night when I came across Swansea Bridge, that new bridge there by the docks, to take a left to come up here, not here, to Gaynor's in Llansamlet. There was a UFO above my head. There was a 20-metre UFO. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, packed with people.
No one else saw it. No one else saw it.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they did.
This happens so much, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I drove up the road and I thought, I'm not having this. I turned round. I went round the roundabout and went back down. And there it was. It was following me. And there were 2 of them like this. Leaning, looking up. And I went up, back up, I came back down. And I did this about 7, 8, 9 times.
What do they look like?
They look like the bold ones, that's all I can say. They looked bold and they looked about 4 foot, 5 foot tall.
Or the greys?
I don't know.
What were their eyes like? Eyes?
Eyes, I couldn't see the eyes. No. But it's... what they did was, as I was going up and down like that, they were waited for me to turn around and come back down. But they came down even lower. And they said, right, okay, if this is what you want, we'll give it to you. And once they did that, I just carried on going. That next time I turned around, I went and I did come back. And that's absolutely true. I also mentioned that we had a laser show at Swansea Airport. Did I describe that to you? Did I describe the laser show?
I can't. No, I don't think he did. No, he talked about
The
it.
laser show was so dynamic, it was kaleidoscopic. And I'm talking over Swansea Airport. Admitted it was after 12 o'clock at night and winter time. But people must have seen it. The first thing that happened was there was an eruption. And there was a spider's web. Every colour blue you can imagine. It was beautiful, I've never seen anything like it. And it was there, in front of us for 2 minutes. At least 100, 150, maybe 200 metres across diameter. Gone.
Well, it was like lines of light, was it?
Yeah. It was like the spider's web's lines were literally laser beams.
And it was all sort of just...
It was all fixed together.
It's a bit like a thing of Roy T was on about with that ship.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was thinking
Last night,
just
the
like
tour.
that, yeah. The tour ship.
Then there
In the English
was
Channel.
2 in Technicolor that was beyond words. And they literally filled the runway, one there, one there.
Yeah.
And we're looking at them, we were like, what's going on here? They went out a couple of minutes later, and then with every passing moment, there was a plethora of lights, craft, objects. The whole airfield was entirely plastered as they flew about like this. Crazy.
And where were you? In the car?
In a car. We were underneath it.
So these lines of light, was it they static?
When they were in the cobweb, as I called it, they were static. But when they went away, a few minutes of each went away, there was a few minutes went by where we had the arrival of, if you want to call them laser beams, I don't know, or objects, and they were darting about, doing as if it was all just, can they go there? Everybody was doing this. And it was several minutes and gone. Then we gasped, because from either end of the airport there was literally hurtled 2 laser beams, and there was like a conjunction of explosion as they hit together, and the syncopation was unbelievable. You had light, colour, brightness, and the whole sky illuminated. This thing was so powerful it could have blown the planet up. That's how powerful it seemed to be. And we were watching it. We saw it.
When was the date? Or can you remember?
2001.
2001. Oh, that's quite a while.
So you stopped the car, yeah, to watch.
I've seen so much.
So you stopped it on this particular night. You stopped the car, yeah, when you were driving. Yeah.
I've stopped. I completely bottom dollar. I mean, look, the whole thing, 7, 9, 10, 12, 11, quarter of an hour. Just imagine a quarter of an hour of those lights.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued with this. You think it was like a cobweb, not like a structured spider web, but like a cobweb. Yeah, that's what you described it.
A spider web.
A constructed,
Yeah,
nice.
and they
Yeah,
were all
right.
like this,
Right.
all the way, all the way, all the way. It was as if they were giving us a spider web as an example of something to give,
But it was
something
in,
we would recognise.
But it was that.
Yes, yeah.
It was as light.
Yeah.
It was that. It was as light. It was just a spider web of light.
Each part of the spider web looked like a laser beam,
Right. Yeah.
each one. So there might have been 100 laser beams connected. That's how it appeared to me.
I remember the way you described of two lights hurtling, laser beams hurtling together. That reminds me of the Hadron Collider, because in CERN, where they send it all round and then they hit 2 protons or atoms together and then an explosion of light. So yeah, quite interesting that. But you know that Fairwood Airport is quite, there's a lot of sightings over Fairwood Airport because it's dark for a start.
That was also Fairwood, where we were driving back. I had the bald alien that took me when I was a kid. I had a replicant of that, and he came around Kittle Lane, turned up towards us there where we were by the airport, and it came up, and I got out of the car and waved.
But he was in a craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see him clean. And then he bobbled the craft from port to starboard. He didn't wave. And the craft was like this in front of us.
That is one of the movements that we quite often
Folding
people
leaf.
say, yeah, folding leaf or a wobbling, they wobble.
And after that, I drove away, and I thought, that's weird. There was a small light behind me, and it was the contours of the road like this. I pulled over. Gainer, I didn't know, couldn't move. I got out of the car and I walked to the back of the car, and there's this thing. It's like that. It's about that, like that. And it seemed to have like a camera or one eye in the centre. And I knew if it flashed, that was it. I was gone. I knew it. But I stayed there, and I walked to it, and it was over my foot. It was actually over my foot. And then it went like this, came up to my waist. And it was right in front of me, and then it backed away, turned to go in through the edge, stopped, think, no, I'm not doing that, and back across the road, and it went up about 25 foot. And I got in the car, and I sat there, looking at it, and Gaynor was looking at it, and then she said, oh, I can move now, because I couldn't move. And then we drove away and left it there. It sounds as though everything happened in Gower, but it didn't. There was so much more things that we did, things that we saw.
I noticed you've mentioned a few times in the book that you had small, very small but perfect looking UFOs, flying saucers.
Those were the orbs.
Yeah.
Orange, yellow, red orbs, fiery orbs. Oh. And then we had twins. We had two of them, which were special. The twins. When they came, you could stand by. Twins. They were fantastic. The first time they came, we used to see them in the distance. They're weird looking things. And then one night we were both sat there, Gaynor had a bud and we were talking, and I was just drinking whatever I used to drink, which was a soft drink. And as we were talking, I said, oh look, there's a pool of water, and in the pool of water there was two orange lights. Well, the pool of waters were there. These things were flying right in front of us. They were there, two of them. And they you should have seen the tails. They dropped, and there was like a fuzzle on the top, and if one went that side of the car, one went this side of the car, and they after a couple of minutes, and they were gone. That was it. And they stayed. We called them the twins, and they were always the twins. I haven't seen them for years.
So when was the last thing that happened to you?
Me?
Bringing it up to date now. How long ago?
It was this year. I had a fantastic sighting. It was from Arianrod's bridge, and directly opposite there's a stand of trees, the very tall trees. I always get a little craft that comes to the top of the stand of the trees, and it flashes a white light. And that did that, and I flashed back and did it again, I did it again. And then all of a sudden I could see a light to the right of it. I thought, oh, that's strange, that's unusual. And then a bank of lights came on. And this craft must have been 100 metres. It was fabulous. And it was round.
Over that bank of trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and there it was then in its full glory. And it looked like all along one side was Egyptian hieroglyphs. I don't know whether they were, but they looked like Egyptian hieroglyphs for all the world. And it was there with me for a while.
Oh, this was this year, 2025.
Yeah, I do honestly. I try to get there as much as I can.
How long ago? Because we're in August now.
We were talking the beginning of the year, around about January, February, and.
Right. And we're off.
Right, it's brightened up a bit now.
It's brightened up a lot from when we came through here earlier.
And we're coming up to he called the Arianrod Bridge, which I thought he said Arianrod.
Yes.
What the hell's that? And then you said it was a railway bridge. It really confused me because it wasn't a railway bridge. It was an old bit of the road before they deviated it and improved it. And there's the Cray Reservoir down there, where Brian Harry saw his massive orb.
Yeah.
There's the bank of trees he was talking about.
Yes. I thought those were the ones.
There's the bank of trees. And just down here on the left.
Ah, this is it, where we pulled in.
You can see where there's an old, the road now goes that way, but
yeah.
Originally it went round there, which is now a lay-by.
Well, that's a lay-by.
I'll just pull in there now. So you can imagine.
And that's the bridge, is it?
Yeah, it's an old concrete bridge, probably built in the 1930s, I'd say. You want to jump out and have a quick look? Let's go to it. Yeah. So you would have been. They park here.
Yes, yeah.
To do these sky watches and that.
God,
go on, get out and have a look around.
It's quite weird, really, because you can't really see much, but you would see something in the sky there. Yes, the old bridge, the Arianrod.
20s and 30s, I think we've done this, over the ravine.
But yeah, amazing views here.
Silver Wheel, Arianrod.
Yes, Arianrod with silver wheel. It's quite amazing what you say about it looked like a silver wheel. The lights were silver. So there may well be something with the old, when you look at the old folklore and stuff like that.
And where Brian Harry stopped was in the next lay-by, which is another bit of the old road.
Just further up.
Further up, looking down on the reservoir.
Yeah.